Let's talk to Kevin Hollinrake MP, who's chairman of the Conservative Party. Kevin, a very good morning to you.
Morning, Mike.
People getting very worked up this morning about many things, including Ofgem raising energy prices once again in October by 2%. For an awful lot of people, they're saying to me this price cap of £1,755 is a complete fantasy. They're all paying an awful lot more.
Well, they are paying more, and even when you look at the price cap year on year, it's gone up by £200. And that's against the backdrop of Labour, of course, promising Ed Miliband, Mad Ed Miliband, talking about reducing it by £300 a year. So it's another broken promise by Labour. I think what you said in the lead up to introducing me, Mike, is totally right. You've got a cabinet, none of whom have got any business experience. I was in business myself for 30 years before politics, starting a small business, building a national one, and many of my colleagues in the Conservative Party have done the same. So we need some proper business know-how to be able to start putting things back as they should be and running this country properly.
That's the thing. I mean, I get more and more messages from people. This one from Christopher, who says the price cap is complete well, I can't even say it. Rubbish. Sorry. I've already been in trouble for swearing this morning. I live in an extended 3-bedroom semi where I care for my bedridden mother who has Parkinson's, dementia, osteoarthritis, osteoporosis, rheumatoid arthritis and stage 3 kidney disease. If the heating is not on to keep her warm, the air conditioning is on to keep her cool, and her health means it is difficult for her to keep a stable temperature. And he says, basically, his electric bill has just been put up to £460 a month. That's in Epsom, in the south of London.
Yeah, I mean, the price cap itself is anti-competitive, isn't it? I mean, what you really want to happen is make sure that energy producers can produce more energy. That will bring prices down as supply increases. But there have been brakes put on gas exploration in the North Sea. Ed Miliband is purely focused on renewables. We should be looking at nuclear, new nuclear, and replacing existing nuclear. All those things we need to do to increase the amount of energy produced. That's the way to bring prices down, rather than having some artificial cap, which won't have that effect. It needs to be a market-driven solution.
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately, it doesn't look as if they've got a clue of how to make that work, does it? Because they keep complaining that it's fossil fuels is driving up the price, excuse me, of gas and electricity, when actually, in actual fact, it's the fact that they're not drilling and not exploring for our own gas and oil.
That's exactly right. I mean, drilling for more gas and oil hasn't driven prices up in the US, it's driven them down. And so we should copy that. We should emulate that production. I mean, if you've got domestic production available in the North Sea, for example, why not push ahead with that? Because it's good for prices generally, but it's also good for the UK economy because the companies producing it pay more tax, and that's good. It lowers the burden then on our taxpayers. That's the right way to go about producing more domestic energy, which is good for the UK. All Ed Miliband's approach is going to do is going to mean more imports of gas from abroad, including much of it liquefied, which is very energy intensive and very bad in terms of its carbon footprint. Yeah.
Now, the big story in the papers this morning, obviously, is all about Nigel Farage. He captured the nation's kind of attention yesterday with his press conference yesterday morning. We caught up with it today. Let's have a look at what he said reform is going to do on illegal migration.
Here's what we have to do to make Operation Restoring Justice actually work. We have to leave the ECHR. No ifs, no buts. It may have been a good idea 80 years ago. Frankly, it isn't today. We have to repeal the Human Rights Act of 1998, brought in by a Blair government, many of whose families seem to do rather well off the back of it. We will, for a 5-year period, disapply the 1951 Refugee Convention and any other barriers that can be used by lawyers in this country to prevent deportations, to prevent the right thing from happening. We'll create a legal duty for the Home Secretary to remove those that come illegally. And crucially, we will detain all illegal migrants who come, and we will do so immediately.
My listeners and viewers here on Talk, Kevin, are very much welcoming what he said. Kevin Badenoch came out and said, well, basically he's just nicking all of our ideas and we've got more ideas, but we're not going to tell you what they are for a while. He's kind of left the Tories in his wake here, hasn't he?
Well, it's interesting because we published our plans in terms of which are very similar to Nigel Farage's plans in May of this year. So it's kind of, he's following in our wake, if you like.
Well, you didn't say you were going to leave the ECHR, though, did you?
Yeah, we effectively did, because we said we'd disapply the Human Rights Act, which embodies the ECHR in our domestic law. So we said we'd disapply the Human Rights Act in immigration cases. So pretty much we did. Whether we'll leave it completely...
You're not quite, though. Pretty much. I mean, well, I've interviewed Kemi Badenoch and I asked her about the ECHR, and she said, you know, I would consider leaving it if that was necessary, but she hasn't actually said she would leave it.
No. That's true, Mike. What she's done, Kemi. Can I just say, Nigel Farage only a few months ago was saying tow the boats back to France. He's realised you can't do that because he hadn't thought through the plans. What Kemi Badenoch has said, she wants to think through his plans properly. She's got Lord Wolfson, who's one of the most eminent lawyers in the country, looking at the implications of leaving the ECHR. She said she's minded to leave, and there'll be an announcement in the next few weeks in terms of what we're actually going to do. And I think you can read from that, and what I read from that is that, you know, we won't let the ECHR stop us. If that means leaving, we will leave. Now, I say I'm not going to preempt that announcement, but the reality is Nigel Farage has shifted from where he was before. We'll just tow the boats back to France. We told him that wouldn't work. He then adopted pretty much our entire policy around deportation and in terms of controlling illegal migration as well as illegal migration.
Well, you've never used the words, but Kevin, you've never used the words as a Tory party, mass deportations. You've never said that.
Well, we haven't used that exact phrase, but it was the deportation bill, and we'll say we'll deport every single illegal migrant and every foreign national offender. That's what we've committed to do. So it adds up to the same thing, Mike. Now, if we don't want to use emotive language, okay, that's a choice we make, and presentationally, Nigel Farage is very effective. But the reality is you've got to look the detail behind his plans and the fact Nigel Farage has a tendency to rush plans out without considering them properly. And people should consider that his spending plans, his tax and spend plans, are £120 billion a year underwater. They're just not affordable. So you've got to look at this in the broad context, not one isolated policy, but yes, we need to control legal migration. We need to stop completely illegal migration. But we do it in a way that's affordable and doesn't make the country bankrupt.
So the problem, Kevin, for you guys is that you had some years to do it. I mean, the boats started coming around about 2018, and you were in charge until 2024. And so for 6 years, you really didn't do anything to stop the boats at all. And all I'm saying is I'm amplifying the views of the people that talk to me, who call into the show, who say basically the Tories are finished in terms of, you know, telling us how they would do it, because they could have done it and they didn't.
Well, it's the things that in Parliament are more difficult, and with the courts are more difficult than people set out, and that's true. And we made promises that we didn't deliver upon, but it's wrong to say we did nothing. You say about the boats, that's true. They started in 2018, but to a very small degree.
Yes,
it kicked off during the pandemic.
Yeah, but it got a lot better. It got bigger, didn't it, during the pandemic?
And then we started control. It brought it down by 30%. But ultimately, we felt the only way to deal with this was through the Rwanda plan, the deterrent that is the Rwanda plan, deporting every single person who arrives on that route out of Rwanda, against huge opposition politically and in certain elements of the media. But we got those plans through, despite Labour and the Liberal Democrats voting against them 134 times. That's what we did. Then we were blocked by the courts. And Nigel Farage is wrong to say that the only thing that's going to stop him is the ECHR and the UN Convention on in terms of refugees. The common law also plays a part in this. So there'll be battles ahead with the courts. We're willing to take on those battles. That's why we've got Lord Wolfson having a proper considered look at this before we announce our plans in full. But I promise you now, if I didn't think we were going to deal with this situation, I actually would not be backing Kemi Badenoch and the Conservatives. It's hugely important. I think we can do it. We can do it in a way that's considered, but also will balance the books in the process.
Well, let me play you a voice note that I got a little bit earlier on in the show this morning. I think it's from Sarah, who said that she got this message from Kemi Badenoch.
I still get the Conservative emails, and I got an email from Kemi yesterday saying about the Epping Forest Hotel and how other councils should follow suit, and isn't it a win? Kemi, you're a week too late, mate. Sorry, you've missed the boat on that one, literally.
So, I mean, that's what people are saying. And again, you know, I take your point. I understand, Kevin, that, you know, times were different, and also that Labour was very much in opposition and very much tried to stop. But you had a majority, and there was a certain squeamishness, I think, from an awful lot of Conservative members of Parliament who didn't want to actually reject these people coming from foreign countries. Are you saying that you've now changed your view on that?
I think, not my view. I was the same view then, but I agree with you. Some of my colleagues.
So you think we should turn them around as soon as they arrive? They're illegals. They should just get kicked out.
Oh yeah, she was deported. I mean, the legislation we put in place, which we did pass, meant that illegal migrants were detained and deported. It was as simple as that. That's what we put in place. That's what I voted for. It's right to say some of my colleagues, a few of my colleagues voted against it, but the main opposition came from Labour and the Liberal Democrats and others. That's where the problem lies. So I understand that lady's frustration. I'm frustrated too. But if I didn't think Kemi Badenoch would deliver on this, then I would be a completely different view altogether in terms of my support for her or for the party. That's the reality. But I do think she's the strongest person we have in politics. I also think she's the most authentic. But she's realistic about how you balance the books in this country. And people should beware just being sold a dream that you can spend money left, right and centre and cut taxes left, right and centre, and all this is easy, because none of those things are true.
OK, good to talk to you. Kevin, thanks very much indeed. Kevin